Hello everybody and welcome to the Sovereign Village Project. I want to talk today about how I am utilizing trees as well as planting trees to both save me time and save me money here on the homestead. And I just wanted to point out a few examples of how I'm doing it, but really the opportunities and the methods are kind of limitless, so maybe you can throw some of your own ideas and your own tactics out there. But by really looking around us and seeing these for what they are, which is tools, these are tools for our use, these are our partners. When we look at that, we can really ease the workload on our homestead and ease the costs. Currently I'm working on this little level site here is rabbit housing. And so one thing about rabbits is they do not like heat. They do pretty well in cold temperatures, but they don't like heat at all. And I'm in Tennessee. And today, you can probably see the sweat on my face. It's hot. Tennessee's a hot place, and rabbits are a major component on my homestead. So if I can ease the temperatures, I can save money on housing because I don't have to necessarily design all of these features to keep them cool if I design the landscape correctly. Similarly, I was just watering my chickens and I was thinking, man, I sure hate to water chickens. It's a lot of work. And I was noticing, well, the sun's beating down on them because they're just in a temporary tractor right now. They're not in their permanent home. And of course, when the sun's out, they're going to drink a lot more water. They probably need to process more food as well. I could be wrong about that, but they certainly go through more water. And so properly shading their housing and any animal's housing is also going to save me time and money on water. Even if my water is free, I still have to get it from A to B. I still have to design systems and maintain systems to deliver that water. So by properly utilizing my environment, I can save money on all of those things, as well as trips to the water source. And so here on this site, I most definitely chose it because of the trees. Whenever I build an outbuilding for animal housing or any kind of storage or workshop, I pretty much inevitably orient it towards the south, and then I build a greenhouse on the side. Why on earth would I not take advantage of that huge mass behind it and use the opportunity to store heat as well as add a whole wall I don't have to build onto a greenhouse? Every building should probably have a greenhouse on the side. And so that was a major factor in me choosing this site, because right here on this bare ground is where the rabbit housing will be. As you can see, it's already pretty well shaded out. We've got cherry trees, we've got evergreens, cedars. But over here, where the greenhouse will be, we have this beautiful little pocket here, just enough room for a small greenhouse, but it's shaded by these sumacs. And these sumacs are great because they have a small trunk, but then a nice wide canopy at the top. So what that means is that in the winter, all of those leaves will be gone. So there's just a few sticks in the way. That's not going to prevent the sunlight from hitting the greenhouse. So the greenhouse will be very effective in the wintertime. But in late spring, all of these leaves bloom and they carry all the way until the end of fall. And so they're shading out this greenhouse so it's not heating up my rabbit housing the entire time. In addition, all of these sumac trees up here are actually edible. Rabbits love to chew on those sticks, so I have a food source right there. And I also chose the spot that has all these cherry trees because on the side of the rabbit housing, I'm going to build chicken housing. And the chickens are actually going to be in this area, and I'm using trees in a lot of different ways here in the chicken housing. So as I mentioned, we have a lot of edible trees, the sumacs, the cherries, spiderwebs. We've got blackberries, we've got lots of edible food already here that are going to line the chicken coop. It won't be in the chicken coop, so they can't destroy it, but the produce will fall in the chicken coop or it will be within reach through the wire for them. But also I chose this area because it's got a lot of overhead shelter, which will both keep them cool. It will prevent the rain from getting on them so much, but it'll also protect them from predators from overhead. The hawks and everything up there are not going to be able to see them. In addition, all of these trees will drop their leaves, they'll drop their pine needles, and you can see this ground already has a nice mulch going. I'm going to be bringing more mulch into the system. This chicken coop is going to be a compost creation device. It's going to be a central hub of my compost creation. I'm going to have free-range chickens and tractors, but there's going to be some stationary ones that live inside of this coop, and it's going to be their job to process food scraps, to process wood chips, to process compost, and to make compost, to shred it up. They are the beginning of the supply chain on this farm, essentially. And so all of these trees surrounding it are going to be dropping mulch. And over time, I'm going to specifically plant trees that will drop better mulch. For example, I'm going to do a lot of nitrogen fixers. And so the leaves they drop and the mulch and the sticks they create, that will create mulch that's got all of the stuff I really want in the garden. And I'll plant more food trees. I'll plant lots of mulberries around here. I'll plant lots of food sources for the chickens and for the rabbits. And so this whole area, all of these trees play a part in the design. Many of the trees are just there arbitrarily because they already exist. So over time, I'll take out the ones that are less useful for me and I will put ones that are more useful. But right now, even the most useless trees, even the invasive ones, because I have some privet and other invasives in here, even they're still providing shade and everything, so they're still serving a purpose. And then over time, I will kind of garden them out and put more useful trees in here. So those are just a few simple ways in which trees can play a very critical part of your design. They'll save you money, they'll save you time, they'll save you labor, and they look nice. They're also enriching the soil beneath here, and they're making it better. They're avoiding mud. This is a hill, and a lot of mud's going to come off that driveway, and I'm going to be directing that as best as I can, but a lot of it's going to pass through the coop. And you've probably seen those chicken coops, or you've had them before. I know I have had them before, where they're just a muddy, disgusting slog. I don't like mud. I don't want mud on my farm. Mud is bare ground. There's no good reason for bare ground. If there's bare ground and there's mud, there's erosion, and that means I'm losing my nutrients, and they're going down the hill, and they're washing down into the holler and out to the ocean. That's money. I'm not giving up my nutrients. So by leaving as many trees in the design as possible, I'm really getting the best out of my soil. I'm preventing those erosion problems. It's enriching the soil. And also, it's timber for me. This is all energy sources. So by allowing the trees to be a part of it, this is all the heating I need, and this is all of the building supplies I need. I'm using a lot of these cedars as major components in the buildings that I'm creating. So I'm surrounded by building sources, I'm surrounded by food sources. Use these trees. We should all be tree huggers. Don't be afraid to kill a tree. Trees are tools, they're for us to use, but let them live whenever possible and use them in your design. They're an incredible way to make your farm really work. Does this look like a farm to the outside eye? Probably not, but I don't really care what people think. I don't really want to look like a traditional farm, because traditional farming has a lot of problems with it, and a lot of things we need to fix. We need to make our farms look more like this, and it's going to make our workload easier, and it's going to make our lives better, and it's going to make the lives of our animals better, and of all the wild animals. You can hear them right now. Maybe you can hear the birds and everything chirping, but they're also my partners, and that's a video for another day, talking about how the birds and the insects are also partners on this farm, and they're my employees and they work for me. All I have to do is provide for them and leave room for them. So leave room for some trees, use them in your design, research, research, research. Learn as much as you can about the species around you and identify them. A lot of them are food sources. All right, in the meantime, everybody stay safe, be well, and happy homesteading.